Hola amigos, feliz viernes. Hoy es viernes, yo soy Rory y estoy contento de estar aquí contigo. Hoy estamos viendo recomendaciones en español, cómo dar recomendaciones. And so we're looking at how to give recommendations today. And I'm going to give you two ways to do it. One for you beginners and one for you folks who are intermediate, advanced, and you've heard about the subjunctive and you think you're ready to give it a shot. You could do it. Okay, bien. So temas para hoy. Primero, los temas son frases de recomendación. So we're talking about some phrases, some common phrases that set up recommendations. Varios verbos buenos para recomendaciones. We'll look at a handful of verbs that fit well with recomendaciones. El presente del subjuntivo, for everyone who's ready for it. And then, of course, unas situaciones de práctica, which we're building in. And if you don't have a conversational buddy, get into the Learn Medical Spanish group on Facebook and put yourself out there and see if you can find a conversation buddy. All right, bien. Antes de empezar la lección, I need to remind you that we are back with our free Medical Spanish Masterclass. The first lesson opened yesterday on Thursday, and so for the next 10 or 11 days, we'll be offering this free Medical Spanish Masterclass. Would love for you to follow the link and get in there and join the Masterclass. Leslie and I are teaching some essentials for medical Spanish and setting you up for the next several months. So it began August 13th, yesterday, and goes through the 24th. So no worries that you're not late. All the lessons remain in there during this whole period of time, so you can view them, get the downloads, etc. There are 4 recorded lessons and 2 live practice sessions, okay? The first live practice session is next Monday. So if you can make some time next Monday night, I encourage you to join and get into the live practice session. Make sure you register with the link. I'll put the link in the comments area, the more info area of the YouTube video, and then also in the post on the Learning Medical Spanish Facebook group. Okay, hope to see you there in the masterclass. Empecemos con frases de recomendación. Frases de recomendación. Por ejemplo, recomiendo que usted, I recommend, recomiendo, we see it's in the yo form there. I recommend that you, whatever, right? Quiero que usted, I want you to do something. Prefiero que usted, I prefer that you. And then le aconsejo que usted, I suggest or counsel you to. Pido que usted, I ask you to, and here we're not just asking a question. Pedir is the verb to ask something of someone. So it's like I'm requesting you to do this or that. Es importante que usted, it's important that you, and es necesario que usted, it's necessary that you do this, that, or the other. Okay, what are some of those things that we ask people to do, tell them we want them to do, prefer that they do? Bajar de peso, maybe, lose weight. Cambiar, change something or exchange something, cambiar su estilo de vida. Comer más vegetales y menos comidas fritas, maybe. Dejar de is a great verb to stop doing any kind of vice. Dejar de fumar, dejar de tomar licor, dejar de whatever. ¿Sí? Descansar, rest. Esperar, wait for. Hacer, do or make. Intentar, with a verbo, to try to do something. Limitar, limit a particular, no sé, something with your dieta or consumption of something. Pedir, ask for or request. Poner, put. Regresar, return. Tomar, take. Volver, also to return. They're both synonymous. Regresar y volver, sinónimos. Okay, bien, let's look at some ejemplos. Es importante que usted baje de peso para controlar su presión. Es importante que baje de peso para controlar su presión. Recomiendo que usted haga más ejercicio para ayudar a controlar el azúcar. I recommend that you do more exercise to help control your blood sugar. Quiero que usted regrese a la clínica en 2 meses. I want you to return to the clinic in 2 months. Le aconsejo a usted que hable con su familia sobre su condición. I advise you to talk to your family about your condition. Okay, so we're making some recomendaciones. Prefiero que deje de fumar. I prefer that you stop smoking. Bien, now, fíjese, notice estos verbos aquí. So these verbs have an ending, and you might be noticing that something's going on here. ¿Qué está pasando con estos verbos? First of all, we had bajar went to baje, hacer went to haga, regresar went to regrese, hablar went to hable, and dejar, whoa, oops, we went too fast there. And dejar went to deje. Bien, you might be looking and noticing that, hey, these kind of look like the usted command. And you're right. If you're uncertain of what I'm talking about, go ahead and follow this link to the usted commands lesson that I did for us in Video Viernes earlier this year. And you can see how the usted commands are formed. But here's a quick summary. There's tres pasos para formarlo. Tres pasos para formar an usted command. Go to the O, drop the O, and add the opposite ending. And so when we have an AR verb, it gets the E, ERs and IRs get the A. So yes, this is how you form the usted command, but this is also what we call in Espanol el subjuntivo, the subjunctive. Now, again, if you're a beginner, you need to plug your ears right now. Now, if you're a beginner, there's a workaround, and I'm going to show it to you. But if you've been around Spanish for a little bit and you're ready for this, this is going to be a perfect way to kind of introduce you to what the subjunctive mood is. So, es un modo verbal avanzado. So it's an advanced verb mood. So moods. So what I mean by mood is it's not quite a tense. It's not like future or past, but because the subjunctive has past tenses in it and things like that. So it's kind of like another mode. It's another mode of the verb. Si eres principiante, sugiero evitarlo. So if you're a beginner, I suggest you avoid this for now and avoid it like this. Es importante bajar de peso. So just forget the change in subject here and go with the infinitive. So now it's a little less direct, but it still works. It's okay. It's important to lose weight instead of it's important that you lose weight. Okay? Recomiendo hacer más ejercicio. I recommend doing more exercise. Not I recommend that you do more exercise. You still get the point across, but it's a little different. Es buena idea dejar de fumar. It's a good idea to stop smoking instead of saying, I prefer that you stop smoking or I advise you to stop smoking, etc. Okay, bien. That's a way to work around el subjuntivo. But keep listening, whoever you are, whatever your level is, because you are going to hear this all the time. It's super common. Si estás listo, el subjuntivo abre muchas puertas para comunicación. I sort of liken the subjunctive. You see this guy, he lives in this black and white world, and he's passing into this world full of color and vibrancy and variation, right? The subjunctive's kind of like that. I sort of liken it a little bit to, before you ever traveled internationally, you had a view of the world. And then as soon as you started traveling, it's like your eyes open up. You're like, wow, people live and do things so much differently than what my sphere is used to. And so the subjunctive is kind of like that. It is super exciting. It opens the world to a communication style that's varied and that's new and that's nuanced as well. But it takes time to get there. And it's not something that you can just do once and have it all figured out. It's one of those sort of lifestyle things that, the more you travel, the more you get comfortable with all these differences, the more you are exposed to and work the subjunctive, the more you begin to understand people's subtle meanings of things, etc. So let's look. It's worth making this trip to the subjunctive is what I'm saying, okay? Bien, not only just for your own comprehension, but for you to be able to express some of those subtleties with your Spanish. Okay, enough about how awesome and simultaneously scary at the same time the subjunctive is. Let's look at some conjugación. ¿Cómo funciona la conjugación? How do we form it, first of all? So primero, we're going to do that three-step process. So primero, go to the O of the present tense. We're going to drop the O, and then we'll add the opposite ending. So again, con el verbo like bajar, verbo ar, here's how it's going to look. Yo, or first we're going to go to bajo, drop the O, and then we'll add the opposite ending, baje, and that becomes the base of our verb. All right, so la forma yo is yo baje. Tú bajes. Él, ella, usted baje. Nosotros bajemos. Ellos, ellas, ustedes bajen. All right, let's take a look at comer, which is an IR verb. It'll be our example verb. So our first step, go to the O, como, drop the O, com, add the opposite ending, becomes coma. And now yo coma, tú comas, él, ella, usted coma, nosotros comamos, ellos, ellas, ustedes coman. Okay, so it looks like the verb comer a little bit, but it's got the opposite ending, and that's how you know, oh yeah, this is something different. This isn't just a regular conjugation. This is the subjunctive. Bien. Okay, so es la conjugación. Estamos viendo, we're looking at un uso específico, recomendaciones. So el subjuntivo has a whole set of uses. Today we're looking at one use. Okay, and there are acronyms and things that I'll help you with down the road this fall that we'll look more into the subjunctive together. But this use is recommendations, wishes, expressing your preferences for other people. Okay, when you're imposing your opinion or your will or your preference onto someone else. I want you to do this, that, or the other. Okay, and so when we do that, we need to use el subjuntivo. Bien, there's a little bit of a formula I want you to think about. And sorry if this is a little nerdy, but this is kind of how I think of it. We have primero, the first subject and the first verb separated by a K, and then the second subject and the second verb. And so what happens is, in this first subject, first verb, the person is giving their opinion, giving their preference, giving their recommendation. And then we have a K, and then we have the person that's receiving that recommendation or preference, and then whatever the action is that we want them to do. Let's look at some examples. Yo recomiendo que usted haga más ejercicio. So first subject, first verb, K, second subject, second verb, and then whatever our frase is. Yo recomiendo que usted haga más ejercicio. Yo quiero que usted regrese a la clínica. I want you to return to the clinic. Yo le aconsejo a usted que hable. I advise you to speak to your family about your condition. Yo prefiero que usted deje de fumar. I prefer that you quit smoking. Okay, vamos a practicar un poquito. We've got our verbos AR ending in E, es, hemos, and en. And then our verbos ER, IR ending in a, as, a, amos, and an. Okay? Bien. So, tenemos una frase. Yo quiero que usted tomar el medicamento con comidas. I want you to take this medication with food or with meals. Take a second, pause me if you want to, think of the answer. Tomar. You're going to go to the O, drop the O, add the opposite ending. Yo quiero que usted tome el medicamento con comidas. Preferimos que todos los pacientes usar mascarillas. We prefer all patients use masks. Okay? Bien. Entonces, go to the O, drop the O, add the opposite ending. Put me on hold here for a minute if you need to. Pause me. Preferimos que todos los pacientes usen mascarillas. So we went to ustedes or ellos, ellas, and that's the N ending, yeah? La autora quiere que usted volver en 2 semanas. Now, volver, the doctor wants you to return in 2 weeks. Volver is a stem-changing verb. That's what that O to UE is there, right? So go to the O, vuelvo, drop the O, add the opposite ending. La autora quiere que usted vuelva en 2 semanas. La familia prefiere que yo tener la cirugía. The family prefers that I have the surgery. Okay? La familia prefiere que yo tener la cirugía. Now, what's great about this go to the O, drop the O, add the opposite ending is that it eliminates a lot of irregular verbs. El verbo tener es irregular en el presente, ¿verdad? And so if we go to the yo of tener, it's not teno, it's tango, right? Tango. Bien, entonces go to the O, drop the O, add the opposite ending. La familia prefiere que yo tenga la cirugía. All right. Los nutricionistas recomiendan que los pacientes obesos referir a mi plato para una dieta balanceada. So, the nutritionists recommend that obese patients refer to my plate or mi plato para una dieta balanceada, for a balanced diet, okay? Bien, so referir is a stem changer also, referir, and we've got a plural subject here, bien? Okay, so los nutricionistas recomiendan que los pacientes obesos referir, go to the O, drop the O, add the opposite ending, and the opposite ending with an A-N there, refieran. Okay, our last practice one here. Es importante que usted seguir las instrucciones. It's important that you follow the instructions, okay? Es importante que usted seguir. It's an E to I stem changer. It's a little bit like the verb tener. It's not sego, it's sigo, okay? Bien, so we've got sigo here, and then we drop the O, add the opposite ending. Es importante que usted siga las instrucciones. Okay, we've got our práctica here, and now what's importante es para ti practicar en conversación. So I want to give you a few situations that you with a conversational buddy could do some practice here. So primero, situación número 1. Hombre de 50 años con diabetes y una receta nueva para hipertensión. Okay, so 50-year-old diabetic with a new hypertension medication, okay, prescription. Situación 2. Una mujer con 12 semanas de embarazo tiene preguntas sobre la dieta y el ejercicio durante el embarazo. Okay, so a gal, 12 weeks pregnant, she's got some questions about diet and exercise during her pregnancy. Okay, so what are some recommendations that you have for her? Situación 3. Mamá con bebé de 2 meses. Mom with a 2-month-old baby. Bebé vino al departamento de emergencias con VSR y ahora le dan de alta. So, baby came to the ER with RSV, and now you're discharging mom and baby. And so what are some recommendations, warning signs possibly that you have for mamá? Situación 4, la última situación. Hombre de 40 años fuma 2 cajetillas por día, so he's smoking 2 packs a day, y toma mucho licor, and he's drinking a lot of alcohol. Okay? Bien. So, unas situaciones, you and your conversational partner go back and forth, build your vocabulario, give some simple recommendations. How would you suggest that these people move forward with their next steps and in healthy living? Bien. All right, muy bien. That's it for today. No olvides, please don't forget, the Masterclass is open. It's back. It's going on for 11 days. There are 4 lessons, 2 live practice sessions. Get registered now. Would love to have you in the Masterclass. We're going to hit a handful of topics intense over the next 10 days and set you up for a 6 to 8 month plan to really improve your medical Spanish communication. All right, muy bien. Gracias por aprender español conmigo. Juntos mejoramos comunidades. Chao.